If you would like to support the Simpsons Siblings podcast, check out our Patreon. You'll get bonus episodes, video clips, hand-drawn fan art sent straight to your mailbox, and more. Tiers start at just $1. Find us at www.patreon.com/SimpsonsSibs. That's spelled Simpsons, S-I-B-S, all one word. Hey, people.
This is Sari.
And this is Sean. And we're the Simpsons siblings.
We talk about Simpsons a lot.
And we talk about it all the time. We're just going to slowly degrade that intro till we're just like, Simpsons siblings is us.
I wasn't ready for it to be flipped,
I knew you weren't. And that's why I did it.
This is your first time listening. I'm sorry.
We are so sorry. So we're talking about Break My Wife, Please. And just a little background, this is a random number generated episode. So I took all of the numbers I took like 1 through 700 and whatever number the Simpsons episodes are at now. Had a website pick a random number between those numbers, and it came up with the number that corresponded with this episode. So this was completely chosen by random, and yeah.
I like that though, because we like the older stuff, and we'd end up just reviewing all those. But it's good to get some stuff that either we haven't seen in forever or is a bit unfamiliar to us.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's funny too, because I feel like this is one of the newer episodes. Mm-hmm. But it came out in 2003.
I know.
We got a lot of catching up to do.
Oh, boy. It was funny, too, because when I read the description for it, I was like, I don't think I've seen this one. But as I watched it, like, there was actually one moment that I've quoted many times, but did not remember what episode it was from.
What were you quoting?
You'll see when we get to it.
Okay.
Yeah. But yet I didn't remember most of the rest of the episode. There was just one tiny, tiny part that really stuck with me in 2003. So I would have been 13.
Yeah, like this one did seem familiar to me, but it also seemed new as I was watching it.
Yeah. So, well, should we do the usual?
Yeah.
So we are talking about Break My Wife, Please. Season 14, Episode 20. Originally aired May 11th, 2003. Directed by Pete Michels, or Michaels, I'm not sure which. And written by Tim Long. Our guest stars are Steve Buscemi as himself, Jackson Brown as himself, and Jane Kaczmarek as Judge Constance Harm.
And we see something with the kind of shorter intro with this one, where we don't have the opening chalkboard scene, which I think should be required to be there.
Boo.
But we do have the couch gag where they all run up, and it's kind of the head cut out thing, and they all switch places as family members, which that was pretty fun.
Just a little short and cute couch gag.
Yeah.
So we're starting out the episode at the Springfield Aquarium. Dead fish skimmed daily.
Yes.
And I love this tour guide that just has this weird bit part. Like, he's in this episode for like 3 minutes. And he makes like a cheesy joke like a tour guide normally would, and they all laugh. And he goes, "What, am I a joke to you people?"
He's like, "Shut up."
Shut up, it's not exciting. I love this guy.
He reminds me of, there was the episode of Futurama where they're at the aquarium, and the guy is like, "Oh, it's Shamu, the whale who thinks he's better than you." he's like, he hates his job and hates the exhibits. And
Yep, just Mr. Passive Aggressive.
Yep.
Yeah. So I put here eating leftovers, and I can't remember what the context for that was. The eating leftovers. I can't remember now. I watched this last night.
I watched this like an hour ago.
What the heck?
We're good.
Anyways, I liked it enough to write it down, but supposedly not enough to remember what it was. We never record on Mondays, and we're recording on a Monday.
Yeah, it's a weird day today.
And maybe this is, like, not the best day to record a podcast. Because I watched this Sunday night, and the barrier between Sunday night and then a full day of work and then podcasting, some details didn't make it through that barrier.
Just falls out.
It was like in Inside Out when the imaginary friend gets left at the bottom of the pit. Spoilers for Inside Out here.
I think we're safe at this point.
Anyways, that's what happened to the eating leftovers scene that I wrote down.
There's a little orb at the bottom.
Yep.
With leftovers inside.
Yes. But I do remember the flying penguins.
I love the flying penguins.
I got a big laugh out of that. Where Lisa opens the door and the penguins are just flying everywhere. And then they just kind of stop and glare at her. It's just, oh man. And then we have the fish in bags sort of gag where they say they're moving them to another exhibit.
We keep them safe in our storage tank.
Yeah.
The whales just bunched up in a plastic bag.
I wonder if that's the same whale that Mo stole.
Guys, it's the feds.
And the Simpsons, if you're on Twitter, you gotta follow Simpsons crap memes, which is just the worst version of Simpsons humor that exists, but I mean that in the best way possible.
But, like, in one image, you need 3 very random pieces of Simpsons trivia, and if you get all of that, it's perfect.
If you get it, you get it, and if you don't, you don't. Oh man, but they had it so that Mo was, instead of carrying Shamu, he was carrying like David Duchovny's like bikini pic from the X-Files episode. And then instead of Mulder, it was the whale watching it go by, and it was wonderful and terrible at the same time.
If you don't know what we're talking about, it makes no sense.
Yes, and we apologize profusely. So So Bart ends up hiding like in a clam shell, and they're like, "Oh, look at those beautiful pearls!" And it's his.
As Skinner says, those flawless pearls.
And of course, it's Bart's butt, and he eventually gets beat up by all the fish, and Frankie got so happy, like gleeful even, and said, "I love seeing Bart get hurt. He can be such a jerk."
Well, it was very, was it anthropomorphized would be the right
Yeah.
word for? That was very unusual for The Simpsons, because it wasn't like a dream sequence or anything like that. It was real life that these fish had angry faces and were punching Bart, which was a bit odd.
It was weird, and it was, for some reason, Frankie loved it. So, it got her vote. The fish beat him up. It was weird, but it happens. And I guess that's sort of the inciting incident that causes this whole... It seems like seasons 10 through 18-ish has a lot of these... The beginning has nothing to do with the end. There's like one little inciting incident that starts a whole bunch of unrelated events.
Yeah, like the first 5 minutes get thrown away except for that one thread.
That tiny thing that starts a completely unrelated series of events. And so we've got Bart getting beaten up by fish, which will eventually lead to Homer having to throw a barbecue for Marge.
That should just be the description right on the show.
There you go. That's the whole thing. Bart goes to the hospital because he got beat up by fish. And Marge doesn't have her insurance card with her, so Dr. Hibbert handcuffs Bart to the bed.
I love his line before that, though. Bart will be up and underachieving in no time.
Yeah, they know Bart. This is in such a weird space. So this was in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wrote this before I knew what the plot of the episode was about. I find it interesting that there still aren't cell phones. Yeah. And that's the whole thing, because you'll learn a little bit later this is about Homer getting a cell phone. But this is in that weird middle area where Marge still had to call Mose to communicate with Homer. But yet, he's at a video store, which is usually more, like, considered to be a 90s thing. But they were still around in 2003. They didn't really go away till like 2010-ish. This is in such a weird space.
Yeah, like, it's just things that you don't feel like should overlap.
Yeah, but they did. I don't know.
But then it's, not to jump ahead too much, but when Homer gets the cell phone and he plays the ringtone, but it's like the electronic beeps. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember being in school as kids were starting to get phones, and kind of the cool things kids do was to scroll through their ringtones and all the different patterns of beeps. And it was obnoxious, but that was just kind of like what you did when you got one. You listened to all the ringtones, and, was cool because it beeped a certain way.
You would buy a personalized ringtone for like $1, and it would be like a real song, but in beep form. Like, I remember Frankie had Mr. Jones, like, Mr. Jones and me, but it was beeps. And it was just such a very specific, timely thing.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's weird. This is bringing me back to 2003. But
I don't like it.
We've got Editor and Chimp is the movie that Homer's watching in the video store. And
I was trying to remember, and it just clicked in my head, the other movie, Hail to the Chimp.
Yep, I have that written down.
Oh, you already looked it up.
He should have hailed to the chimp. And the other TV in the video store is showing like a sad drama, and he alternates between the two TVs. He's laughing and then he's crying, and it was a good scene. I liked it. It was good.
A lot of emotion in Homer's mind. Like, he's very passionate about both TVs.
Whatever he does is up to 100. He's max power.
I won't sing it.
You strap yourself in and feel the G's. And I actually wrote, "Oh, there's the cell phone," because that's when Homer ends up getting a cell phone because Marge can't communicate with him. And
did you notice where corporate cell phone lady came from?
Wasn't she? She was in a couple other scenes,
but
right?
What door she came out of?
Oh, I didn't see that.
She came from the morgue.
What?
I don't know what she was doing in there, but...
What?
Yeah,
I didn't catch that at all.
Because I noticed it in the background. It was very kind of like meant to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
It was in big like red letters.
Right.
And the door just busts open. She's like, "Oh, well, I have a cell phone."
That's weird. That's really weird. So I thought the interesting thing was this was so 2003 that you could make a whole episode about getting a cell phone. Because if you did that today, it would be like making an episode about going to the store and buying a gallon of milk. Like, but that back then, nobody had them, or at least if you did, it was kind of like a big deal. It was like a weird transitional period.
Well, at that point, I'd only had a phone for about a year and a half, maybe.
Yeah. It was like getting a color TV in the 60s. Like, you knew people that had one, but it wasn't common, and it was kind of a big deal.
Yeah. But
slowly, more and more people were getting them until it became the norm. And I've got the beepy ringtones, flip phones, and talking while driving. Because the big thing there was... It wasn't texting while driving, it was talking on the phone while driving was the big problem.
Yeah.
And it's not as much of a problem now because people they either don't talk on the cell phone, they text, or they have the hands-free.
It's like built into cars.
Yeah. Okay, and here's the thing that I remembered from when this first aired was the I dance around the Mexican hat. I still sing that for some reason, but I didn't know what episode it was from.
Nice.
So, for some reason, that stuck with 13-year-old me. We have Homer driving with his knees, which was like in Who Shot Mr. Burns? He does that with the ice cream cones.
He's holding
right. 2 ice cream cones.
Well, I love that he's got his phone and a donut, and he can't put even just the donut down. Like, it's assumed that the donut hand will never be free.
No. And we've got the car plugins that go off the rails when he goes to the phone accessory store. Well, the other thing was that he was talking about having a hands-free mode, and he talked about getting like a headset.
Yeah.
Like that was the solution there. It wasn't that there was like a speakerphone mode. Or
Yeah, it was almost like a call center headset too.
Yeah, it was weird.
I love the salesman talking about, everything plugs into your car jack.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause I remember for a while there were all kinds of adapters for everything, and it was before everything was USB, but you could do that, but each thing took up the entire jack. But then you could have the splitters where it was 3 cigarette ports.
Oh, dear
and
God.
even just saying cigarette lighter ports sounds weird. Like, this is a very dated episode.
Yeah, it's weird. So I tried to write down as many things I could that he was plugging in here. He had a fax machine, which again is dated, a fog machine, a DJ station, a microwave, a TV. He had like a kitchen station sort of thing. He had a bunch of stuff.
Soft serve ice cream.
Which, I mean, was probably a huge safety hazard. And he probably should have known something about that, being like the head of safety at the power plant. But...
Do you know who you're talking about?
But we're talking about Homer here. So he's so distracted that he ends up falling into a lake and gets his license revoked and then eaten by dogs.
I love the whole... She goes through, like, the guillotine for the license, feeds it to the 2 dogs separately, burn their poop.
Like, it is very thorough here. And, I believe, wasn't the lady that voiced her, wasn't she the mom from Malcolm in the Middle?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. I wonder what happened to her. Like, Bryan Cranston got so big, but we forgot about the mom.
Huh.
Yeah. Alright, so now we have the big sort of conflict of the episode is that Marge has to drive everyone around town.
That's what a good wife does, picks up the slack.
Oh my god.
Oh, we gotta pick up my slacks in Shelbyville.
Pick up the slacks. And she's driving Lenny and Carl around, and we've got Lenny acting like a kid. Like, can we stop for ice cream?
Homer does.
Yeah, and then she says something like maybe later, and he says...
No. We'll think about it.
Yeah, we'll think about it. That's what it was. And he goes, that always means no.
That actually made me a little sad.
Oh, poor Lenny. Not Lenny. We've got Homer walking to Moe's. And he sees all the people driving by in cars. And we've got Ralph in the police car saying, I turned off the parking brake.
And Chief Wiggum, if you stop the car, I'll let you play with my gun.
Yeah. Oh, God, that's terrible. And he's like on a tricycle. And once again, the amount of space between the Simpsons house and all other places is constantly shifting. Because he gets there and he's only like down the street from Moe's. But the house is never that close to Moe's in other episodes.
Are you thinking when he has to drive to work?
Yeah.
And he goes all the way through the parking lot?
And the fence. Yeah. Homer finds that he enjoys walking. So we've got him like kind of walking through a bunch of scenes. And we've got Bishop to Q4. And then they go, we're playing dominoes. Bishop to Q4. And then Homer gets to the power plant and Mr. Burns says, you're the first one here. Here's a ticket to the 1931 World's Fair. But to be fair... that would probably be worth a lot of money, just as like a collector's item.
That would.
Yeah. So, I hope Homer kept that.
Be great for a road trip where you rent a car.
Yeah. Okay, we're either going to Disney World or the World's Fair.
Not a city fair. Not a state fair.
But a World's Fair. Was it called, was it Ogdenville? And they went, Ogdenville.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Wadfur.
Oh, we get distracted too easily.
Oh, too easily. It's a Monday. Oh, and there's a nice little moment when it switches back to the Simpsons house where Bart and Lisa are playing with Snowball too.
Yeah.
Like Marge is talking and they're just kind of playing with the cat and it's cute.
Yeah, you don't see them doing that too often.
Yeah.
Santa's Little Helper's usually the one to make an appearance if there is something.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is all I wrote for this next scene. Homer sings a song while he walks, and it's okay. And he runs into Steve Buscemi, ?
Yeah, did they write the story wanting to put him in there, or are they like, okay, they're just out in Hollywood, like, okay, who wants to be on The Simpsons for 30 seconds?
And he's like, Steve Buscemi's like, oh my God. And I actually read afterwards that he was kind of disappointed because he wanted to be in The Simpsons a lot, but his scene was so short, and he was sad about it. But then he ended up showing up in, like, season 19 or something, so he got a second chance. Mr. Buscemi. And at the end of the song, Marge hits him with her car, and it's very jarring.
Yeah, the song's not meant to end there, but she puts a quick end to that.
Like, dang, like it was bam. And then I've just got written down the quote, "It would have been a lot worse if I didn't have this Bible on my crotch."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, and it's funny because when I went to watch it on my streaming thing, that was what showed as the thumbnail, is him holding up the Bible.
Really?
Which is a very, not about the episode at all,
no,
but...
it's not like there's not much about religion in this episode. It also reminded me of Ned getting hit by the bullet.
Yes.
And he's like, glad I keep the Bible by my heart, and then he gets hit again. Like, glad to keep a piece of the real cross by my heart. And then he's like, I'm gonna go inside now. So this was the other part of the episode that I remembered a little bit, was that Homer gets better, but Marge does all this stuff to manipulate him, like, without even knowing that she's doing it.
Yeah.
And it's almost kind of creepy.
It's like she's had enough after all these years.
But she doesn't even realize that she's doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she's reached a breaking point where, like, she kicks his cane down. And it's weird because when you're watching it, you can see her do it deliberately. You can tell that it's not an accident, but yet she still doesn't realize that she's doing it.
Yeah. Well, I forget the exact wording when she says, no, it's not that I don't love you. It's not that I hate you. And then I hate you. I hate you.
Yeah, and then she doubles down.
She has a lot of like, this isn't just a recent thing.
And it's interesting that this is what causes it, because Homer's done so many more extreme things, but yet this is the thing that clenches it.
I noticed, though, and she mentions it too, it's that he's getting so much good benefit out of it, and he does so well.
Mm-hmm. And it's almost like maybe like the straw that breaks the camel's back, that it's not really about the severity of what's happening, it's that it was just the last bit of what she could take.
Right.
Yeah.
We do see also, I liked the counseling session, where first on the door it says, the one who's wrong pays.
My God.
And then they start seeing each other as different objects, and Homer sees him as a hot dog. What should I do, Dr. Hot Dog?
And they're all supposed to write down the people that they care about the most, and Homer just writes down 3 different versions of himself. And one of them's like Mr. McCool, and then it says in parentheses me, which is just weird and stupid and silly. But there's definitely some jerk A Homer. Like, can I say ASS? I think
so.
We've had this discussion before.
Yeah, I think so.
Jerk-ass Homer is like a term that's thrown around sometimes about like post-season 10-ish Homer not being as nice as like early season Homer. And this is definitely kind of like that, because I could not picture season 1 through 7 Homer doing that kind of list.
Marge would have been at least in one of the spaces. Like, it would have been kind of a redeeming thing where you expect him to put all 3 things as him, but he would come through at the end.
And maybe he'd put himself as one of them, but he'd put at least one of the kids or Marge on there. But that's definitely a teens season sort of thing. And we get the the gif of Carl going "moi," the chef
Oh, yeah.
kiss. That's very commonly used. I use it a lot, but I didn't know it was from this episode. And that is sort of in the conversation where Homer has to put together something that's completely selfless for Marge.
Yeah.
And it seems kind of just like pulled out of nowhere where they were like, oh, we'll do a barbecue. It seems kind of like an easy answer.
Yeah, because
plot-wise.
it's not the first time they've had a barbecue in the backyard to resolve stuff.
And it's not particularly something super selfless because Homer's still going to go there and eat and be social.
I think it would have been better having a romantic dinner for the two of them.
Yeah.
In the backyard.
Or
and
something.
have, like, all the service there.
Or something just for Marge.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all right. It seems like kind of they didn't know where to take the plot anymore, and so they kind of just threw together this solution.
Yeah.
But I mean, it still has some sweet moments. Homer has his plan to lure Flounders out of town.
Oh,
and
I
like,
love
puts
it.
him in a train, and it's like, where did he?
Well, it said, dude, meet me in Montana. XOXO, Jesus Christ. Dude.
Hey, dude. Meet me. And it doesn't say any specifics of Montana, just Montana.
Yep.
Yep. Meet me in Montana. We've got this weird scene with the sea captain
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
where he gives Marge a fish. And he said, we lost 12 good men, but it was enough to see you smile. And she kind of goes like, oh, okay. And he's like, 12 men. We lost 12 men for this. And it's kind of...
And then he goes on, too, about, like, talking about breaking it to the family. It's like,
Yeah.
they just keep going with
it's like
this.
a huge downer moment that's meant to be humorous, but I was just kind of chuckling anxiously.
Hibbert style.
Hibbert style. I was going, and then we've got Jackson Brown showing up and serenading Marge. And this kind of seemed like one of those where they were just like, let's put in a guest star and have it be themselves, and they're gonna sing a song, and it's all right. And why do they all have wine boxes? They're like high C style boxes with the little straws.
Bart had one, too.
Why? That was never... It's just random. And then Homer says, now to my greatest friends, I say, get the hell out of my yard. And then he turns on the sprinklers. And then the episode ends.
Well, they have that random bit with the French guys coming to clean up
Oh,
everything,
yeah,
too.
the French guys that were flown in from France for some reason.
Yeah.
And then it's over.
I feel like it kind of falls apart in a few spots in this episode,
Yeah.
but it's still fun.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised in picking a random episode from season 14. I was surprised this wasn't worse, and I mean that in the best way.
Oh, yeah.
I was expecting a tire fire like the one that burns in Springfield, but this was a good tire that, got you to where you wanted it to go, but then it blew out at the end.
Good metaphor.
Yeah, I made that up off the cuff. But, I enjoyed it. But I don't know if I'd rewatch it a ton. I'd maybe rewatch it in like a couple years.
Yeah, maybe like, if you were to put like rotations for The Simpsons for like random episodes, maybe put it on a C list rotation. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that works.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
The Simpsons.
It's an episode. It's yeah. Honestly, it got me thinking about 2003 a lot, and just like a kid born in 2003 is gonna graduate next year. No, wait, not next year. Graduated this year?
Math.
Math. That's what we should take from this. is math. It's Monday. Did I mention that? We never record these on a Monday, and we never will again.
Nope.
Oh, dear God. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I went over every bit of my notes on this one.
Yeah, I have some fun facts, but they're not super fun. It was actually really hard to find fun facts on this. Like, I already said one of them, which was about Steve Buscemi's part being too short. The Springfield Aquarium was based on the Aquarium of the Pacific in Long Beach, California. So if you want to visit an aquarium that looks like the aquarium from the season 14 episode Break My Wife Please, go to Long Beach right now.
They're like facts, but they're more
fun. Does not accept Simpsons siblings fun facts. Also, Bon Jovi was the first choice for the singer at the end, but he didn't like the joke about the new album not being popular. Aww. Which is kind of funny because Bon Jovi's newest albums are terrible.
They could have done a song like "It's My Wife" or something like that.
Oh my God, that came out just about around this time too. That would have absolutely been what they
with
would
Homer
have done.
Singing it in that off tone.
That would have absolutely been perfect. I did not think of that. Wow, somewhere that's probably written down with all the lyrics.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, here, wait, I'm going to look that up right now.
You know, someone was saying, okay, we're going to do It's My Wife, and we're going to do all this, and then Bon Jovi just says, no, guys, sorry. And it got thrown away.
Yeah, that was released in 2000, so it would have worked. All right, so that was our first random number generated episode, which I think maybe we'll do this once or twice a season.
I like it.
A podcast season.
So we got to get the ones that we like, ones that other people want us to do.
Yeah.
And then just random.
Yeah, and then just random. If you want to support our podcast, check us out on Patreon. We're at patreon.com/SimpsonsSibs. That's Simpsons SIBS, or check the link in the description. We've got some bonus episodes there now.
Woohoo!
We've got an interview episode where we just talk about ourselves. And then we've got some Tracy Ullman shorts we're going through. We've got some bonus videos. We're going to be putting on the notes, so you can look at our notes if you want some behind-the-scenes stuff. And also, shout out to our patron, Timothy Burleson. You rock.
Thank you, Timothy.
Thank you. And check us out for our next episode. We're going to be starting October. Ooh. Which this is our first October because we started in November last year.
Oh, yeah.
So we were never able to do any Treehouse of Horrors. So next time we're going to be going with Treehouse of Horror. The first one.
Oh, okay. I was like, which one? I should know this.
It's just called Treehouse of Horror. It is season 2, episode 3. Watch the episode before you listen to get that full experience, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And, thank you for listening. Until next time.
Bye, everybody.
We're never going to record on a Monday again. Oh, my God. No,